Welcome to the 3 takeaways which I have taken since closing my first client. Okay, so this video is going to be about the 3 things that I learned since closing my first client for my AI agency. Okay, things that you wouldn't know unless you actually close your first client, and then also this will help you to actually manage to close your first client. And if you already have a few clients like myself, then it will help you to actually move forward and close even more. So the first one, I'm going to be writing stuff down on my whiteboard. So the first one is attention to detail is everything. Okay, let me write that down. Attention. This video is gonna have no cuts because I don't really care. I want it to be authentic. And if you're unable to go to the end of the video, you really need to work on your focus. So hopefully this will help. But attention to detail. Okay, when you get your first client, you're going to be extremely excited. Okay, you may even start to, let's say, not focus on the intricate promises that you give this person, this specific client. Okay, so let's say you follow my agency's formula: audit, then build. Okay, so let's say in the audit you promise a weekly update. This is so easy to forget because let's say, okay, so you do your first meetings with this client, with their employees for the first 2 weeks of the audit. For people that don't know what I mean by an AI audit, so when you close your first client for your AI automation agency, it's always better to lead with an audit where you take a big deep dive into their business. And usually in the first 1 to 2 weeks, that is all about just having team conversations over Teams, getting the notes down using Firefly Note Taker or Fathom, whatever you want to use. And then you take all the information that they give you and then you kind of just formulate it into specific systems which they need. Very simple. But once you do all of that, that's all that's going to be on your head. But you might forget about the weekly promises which you make, which are in the proposal, which the client expects. And if you forget that, well, in their head, they may think, okay, this person isn't trustworthy, this person isn't a good person to work with, or they'll speak to you and they'll complain, and you do not want that at all. You just want it to be a complete seamless experience, because I assume, well, a lot of people that start, you're going to be young. Okay, so the company that hires you, especially your first client, they're taking a big gamble, they're taking a big risk on you. Okay, so you don't want them to have any doubt in their mind that you're going to give them a phenomenal performance. Drop my pen. So fully raw, guys, as I said. And so the second key takeaway, um, which I got from closing my first client, is that it's not as hard as you think to actually get your first client. So I'm gonna write this down. I'm just gonna write down easier than I thought. It's way more easier than I thought to actually get my first client. It took me so long to get my first client. Okay, it took me 5 months to get my first client, and then it took me a month later to practically get a verbal close with someone else, and then a couple weeks to actually go through the whole process with them. It Once you get your first client, you're gonna start moving differently. Okay, you're gonna start moving with a certain conviction which you didn't have before, which is extremely important. Because let's say every single meeting will feel like a cup final. Okay, so for the American people out there, in football, when you get to a final, it's called a cup final. It's just a saying. Every single meeting will feel like a cup final. And when you go to price, you're a little bit nervous. You're like, when they say one thing, like, oh, okay, I'll think about it, and then you're over the top on the objection, like, oh, maybe I'll lower the price. Oh, okay, 1.5K for the audit. Okay, let's do £800. The prospect will feel nervous, and when the prospect feels nervous, as good as over. Okay, you're cooked in that position. Okay, and it's really difficult to get out, because I'm sure, let's say you were to go buy a specific platform. So let's say for your email marketing, you were to use Instantly, and Instantly, they're a SaaS company, but let's say you booked a call with them and they brought up the price, and then they all started getting jittery, all nervous, not even backing up the price, or over talking. You'd feel nervous. You'd think this person isn't sure of themselves. This person is quite nervous. This person doesn't know or believe in what he can achieve for me. So what's that going to do to you? Well, that's going to make you think to yourself that this person's unqualified, and you'll probably end up going to someone else who's less nervous and gives you more confidence because they're putting their money in you, they're putting their trust in you. Again, I said it so many times. They want to feel comfortable with you. So once you get past that, okay, and you don't think that getting your first client is going to be the hardest thing in the world, well, and you just go into every single meeting detached, your life is going to become 10 times more easier. So that's a really important factor to take in. Now, number 3, and this is a big one, okay? Number 3 for the 3 takeaways that I have learned ever since closing my first client, and that is once it rains, it pours, okay? So once I closed my first client, literally 3 weeks throughout the audit, I got a call from them, and it was a referral, and it was to a company which was even bigger than they were. And in my head, I was like, wow, they're a big company, but I got a referral to a company that was even bigger than they are. And in practically every single conversation that I've had, even with that company, they even said that they would refer me to other people in the industry. They said, because it's a really difficult industry to kind of get into, but they even said to me, we'll refer you to other people. So one gate opens 10. 10 gates opens 50, okay? So when you close one person, they have friends in business, they have people who they look up to, they have people who they talk to with about AI, especially if you're running an AI automation company. Start it today if you're not already. Please listen to me. Companies are having these conversations every single day, and they are going to constantly talk about it. And if you're in the forefront of someone's mind, they will bring you up, and they will bring you up, and that's a potential meeting booked. And especially from a referral, it's 10 times more easier to actually close than getting them off a cold call. 100%. So let me write that down. Referrals are key. When it rains, it pours. And what you can take from this is just keep the momentum going, because a business is a game. Okay, it is a game. When you play FIFA, sometimes you're shit. And when you're shit, you're really bad. You lose 3 games in a row, it's just not going your way. But when you're good, you're good. I'm a former athlete, so I used to play football. And there's something called flow state. I'm sure you've all heard of it. It's even a term in business now, where sometimes you just feel like you're just moving. You feel like you're just moving. And after you get your first client, for a short period of time, you're just going to feel like you're moving. And you need to take advantage of that, because it doesn't mean, wow, I got one client, oh, I can put my foot off the gas and kind of relax now. I finally got the big thing that I wanted. No, you go further, because if you take your foot off the gas, wow, um, it can be very catastrophic. I've seen it happen to a lot of people. It's even happened to myself. So I can I can 100% give advice there. But for me, the most important one out of these 3 is probably attention to detail. It's probably the most boring, but attention to detail is what will keep you your client. Because remember, the audit to retainer. The audit will always most likely be cheaper than a retainer. So I price my audits at 1.5 to 2K at the moment. For larger companies, we do 5K to 6K per month. However, once the audit is done and they stay on as a monthly retainer, after 3 months, you're going to be making way more than the audit. And if they even like the work that you're doing for them already, they'll give you the opportunity to scale with the AI. And to be honest, with AI, the opportunities are endless, and these business owners will throw thousands at you, especially if you target the correct ones, if you target business owners who have a lot of money, because they understand risk and they're willing to take the risk with you. Okay, they're willing to take the risk with you. But that's the end of the video. I really hope you guys were able to take in the 3 takeaways. Rewatch the video if you missed any of them, but please let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and I really appreciate it. Peace.